this is the 14th day. So I believe something that we are sharing here is being useful to you. Thank you for watching, and I'm so grateful that you have been listening to us and giving us an opportunity to share the wisdom of the yoga and Vedanta to help us pass through this difficult time in a collective way. We talked about how to have a global harmony. We talked about love. We talked about how to understand things in the right perspective, having a positive attitude. So all the things are the concept of mind that you're dealing with. And yoga is a perfect concept. You can say science, technology, all these things put together. It gives us tools and techniques how to deal with any particular situations with a positive spirit. Everything happens for a good cause. Only thing that we have to have is a mindset that can help us to understand the bigger aspects of it. Today we are going to talk about that, how to let go. How to let go of things that happens in our life and attach to something which is more positive and more in alignment with our personal goal. So with that small description of what we're going to talk about, let's start a usual way of doing a wellness talk, bringing both the palms together, taking a moment to keep the eyes closed and try to remind yourself of your resolve, of your goal. Our goal collectively at this time is to be totally healthy, truly happy, and building a stronger immune system, physical level, mental level, even at spiritual level. So say it in your mind, out loud, I'm totally healthy, I'm truly happy, and I am building a strong immune system in my body, mind and spirit. Repeat that 3 times in your mind and create a positive feeling towards that goal. Now we'll raise both the hands up. We'll chant 5 ohms. So inhale, keeping the palms open, eyes closed, facing to the sky in a state of complete surrender. So breathe in. Inhale. 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 Last one. Inhale. Let's bring back both the palms together again. Let's start with this yogic prayer. Om Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvina Vadhitamastu, Ma Vidvisavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May the universe protect us all. May the universe nourish us all. May this wellness talk be fruitful and enlightening. May there be no discord, no disharmony among each other. May there be peace. Om, peace, peace, peace. Let me start with a story. It so happened that there was a farmer in a village, and then he had a beautiful house, a small cottage, and he had a beautiful window. So overlooking the window there was a tree, and in the tree there was a monkey. So every day the farmer would go to field and come back, and during this time the monkey will peep through the window. If something interesting is there, he will come inside and then try to take it away. And we know that monkeys love bananas. So the farmer also loved bananas. So the farmer would get some bananas and keep them in the kitchen and then just go to field. And the monkey will look at that, come inside through the window and then grab a banana and go away. And it was happening all the time, every day. So the farmer would come, hey, I had counted 6 bananas before I left. How come there is only 5 right now? Like, so he started inquiring about it and finally found out, wanted to trap it, wanted to find an experiment, like, how can I understand who is taking that banana out? And of course, like, he might have got some idea about the monkey might be coming through the window and then taking it away. So in any way, he wanted to find out, he wanted to confirm that, and also wanted to teach this monkey a lesson. So what he did is he went to the market and then bought a glass jar with a lid on it. And then there was a small tiny hole inside the lid so that you can put your hand inside and then you can just take it out. So the hole of the lid is just good enough so that you put your hand in and bring it out. So he put the banana one by one in the glass jar and then put the lid on it and then went back to his farming. And after 5 minutes, the monkey looks at that and then comes back in the usual way and look at the banana inside the jar, and then he puts his hand inside the jar and grabs the banana and then he wants to take it out. Meanwhile, the farmer is actually just hiding somewhere, and he came back and then he started thrashing the thrashing the monkey. So what should the monkey do right now? The monkey doesn't know how to escape from that because he's still grabbing the banana. So the fact is that if the monkey knows how to let go of that banana, his hands will be free and he can easily take it out from the lid and he can run away. But the greed of that banana for the monkey is so strong that he cannot think about it, and he keeps holding the banana and get thrashed. So the story is, how do we learn how to let go of certain things that happens in our life? We all know that the mind itself has got a big power. The same mind which creates problems for us, and the same mind also can find solutions for it. So no matter what happens in our life, all the different life events that happens, they should not be so strong, they should not be so powerful that leave us so agitated, so perplexed, and so stressed out all the time. We have to learn how to outlive those and how to make those life events enrich our life by teaching us some lessons. If you look at your life itself, I'm sure many things that you'll find which has happened in the past, during the time it happened, probably it was awful. We had difficulties accepting it the way it happened. But after a few years passed by, when we are already gone through those incidences, maybe you'll be able to connect back to those events and then find out something positive that happened because of that thing that happened in the beginning. Like something happens and we always look at the negative aspect of it. We always try to find stress, worries, anxieties associated with that particular event. But later on, when we look back at that event, sometimes it feels like that was a destiny moment. That's a defining moment in our life. Because of that thing that happened, right now I can move forward in my life. And because that thing happened, we came and grabbed another positive opportunity in our life. What is basically explained in the concept of connecting the dots. So when you look back at your life from the present moment, you look at all the different series of life events that has happened in your life, somewhere maybe childhood time or teen time or adolescence time, different times that has happened. And if you try to look at all the different dots and start connecting them in a mental way, you might be able to find some pattern that is good to connect to the future that is yet to happen. So we have to have an attitude of accepting things that happens in our life with a different mindset. Because as Einstein also said, like, you cannot solve the problem created by the mind with the same mindset. You have to go to a different mindset then only you can fix the problem which the mind started with or created at the first place. So that means you cannot solve the problem with the same mind which created it in the first place. So in order to fix the problem that the mind has created, we have to change the mindset to find a different perspective about that problem, and then only we can fix that problem. So this is a very powerful concept of psychology, that how do we understand the power of the mind that allows us to let go of things, which is also well explained in all our scriptures in the concept of attachment and detachment. And all the scriptures, they talk about how do you find a balance between attachment and detachment. Because if you attach to something all the time, and if you don't practice detachment, you cannot go to the next level. Just like yesterday we talked about happiness concept. When the happiness happens at a sensory level, unless you learn how to detach from that level and try to find out a higher stage of happiness, probably you can't get there. A simple example, if you are going to the airport, if you are going on a taxi and then the taxi is really good, very comfortable, so if you get attached to the taxi and don't let go out of that, you probably cannot go to the airport, you cannot go to take a plane. So in order to catch the flight, you have to let go of the taxi. Just give an example. In order to go for higher studies, we have let go of the comfort of our own home, the parents' place, and we have to move forward. So we had to let go of the comfort of being at home and then go to a different place to pursue a career or to pursue higher studies. So it is always, life is like that. Always there is an attachment and detachment. The detachment and attachment are together. So you have to strike a balance. They're just like two sides of the coin. So whenever you're detaching something, there is always something to attach to. The mind doesn't remain like that, empty. It is always finding something. But sometimes we become so obsessed with something that you're so due to think about it, so dear in our life, that we get perplexed, we get agitated. And of course, sometimes some of the life events become so powerful, so strong, so hurtful, that it is really difficult to let go. Isn't it? Very, very difficult to let go. Something that was so hurtful, something that was so deep in our psyche, in our emotional body, that no matter how often you try, how hard you try, how many times you sit in meditation, you can't just let go of that. The scripture talks about a beautiful example of how to look at life from the lesson learned from a lotus leaf. If you look at the lotus leaf, it has beautiful property. If you put a drop of water, it will stay there, but without sticking to it. Just like a liquid, like mercury, you have seen, like they will become like a ball, but they will just move around. They will not stick to it. So having that breathing space between the water and the leaf itself, that creates a beautiful symbiotic relationship. I exist, you also exist. So we are not encroaching onto the breathing space of each other. So that is a perfect example of how to practice attachment and detachment together. Another example that I can give is like a duck's back. So if you look at a duck's back, if you put some water or he swims in the water, he just shakes the body and then the water falls out. Like, so there is a particular anointment or particular oiling on the back of the duck. So that allows the water not to stick to it. So in this context, it may make sense to have that knowledge as an anointment. With the pure knowledge about our own self, when we are not attached to the body consciousness all the time, and when we detach from the body consciousness and attach to the soul or Atman or the pure consciousness we talk about, so every moment that we attach to the pure consciousness, we automatically detach from all the stress, worries, anxieties, pains, sufferings attached to this body consciousness. And that has been very proven technique of letting go of even severe pain in our life. Be it physical pain, mental pain, emotional pain, even spiritual pain. Something much deeper. Only by practicing a technique in yoga which helps us to detach from one realm of that object that you're sticking to and attach into something more subtle, then we'll be able to transcend the pain of that concept that we're attached to. For example, if you have severe headache, sometimes you might be noticing there are some techniques of that. When you deeply concentrate on something, say for example, there is an image that we always teach about when you have a heavy headache, you can try it out. Like you think about a beautiful water droplet that's coming out from a leaf in a river or a stream inside a forest. If that clear crystal water dropping out from the leaf, so when you start focusing on something like that, you'll be able to see that at some point of time, the mind will be so focused into that tiny drop of water, then all the problems that is causing the headache will go away. So in this case, what you're doing is you're trying to attach to a tiny point of your mind and focusing the mind in so precisely that all the other problems that was considered giving us the headache, they will be out in the background and you'll be able to relax properly. Another example, say for example, if I think about your smartphone, you tie your smartphone with a thread, like a small thread that you hold it. So if you ask, you're holding the thread and the cell phone is just hanging on top of that, right? So if you ask this question, where is the maximum tension? Where is the stress? Where is the tension? In the phone or on the string? So naturally, the string has got all the stress of the weight of the phone. So when you cut it out with a scissor, the phone drops out, but the thread has got no tension. So similarly, in many contexts, the mind is holding the body. So all the pain that happens at a physical level in our body is remaining there, but the mind is connected to that. So the moment we practice something in a yogic technique, meditational technique, automatically you separate your mind and body together for a moment, then the headache or the pain will go away. And yogis have practiced it many times. The simple example that I have tried, you can try it also, is taking your fingers and then tapping onto the top of the head, the crown chakra, just top of the head. So you feel like your mind is there because you're touching there. Then immediately take your palms over the head and just focus on that for some time. And feel like my mind is not in my body, but mind is over my body, beyond my brain. The moment you focus on that, the mind is on top of your head, you are trying to detach your body from the mind. It's a yogic technique that's sometimes helpful. So in the present context also, there are a lot of things that is happening. The whole world is coming to a different kind of mindset, isn't it? Like a lot of fear, a lot of frustration, a lot of stress is building up because of the coronavirus. But now we have to think about that the same collective mind that we're building up together is also having a lot of positivity into it. There are a lot of people who are becoming creative to find out the deeper meaning behind it. We're trying to find out what's the lesson we're learning, how we can really make the most of this time by going inward, by spending some time with our families, by understanding the concept of how to let go. All these things are very, very powerful, life-giving examples that we are learning right now. So it's a very important aspect to find some time to introspect about the different events that has happened in our life and try to let go. So letting go is the primary concept that yoga teaches us. Yoga is all the practice of letting go. There is a beautiful saying that in Bhagavad Gita talks about Tena Tyaktena Bhunjita. That means those people who learn the art of renouncement, they only rejoice life. You know, what goes around comes around. Like what you give back, you get back. So actually when you let go and do not stick to it, it won't persist in you. I always teach about this concept of how resistance causes persistence. Because any moment you try to resist to something, it will persist more and more. If you resist the pain, it will persist more and become a severe suffering. That's why the yogis found that you may have pain in your life, but that doesn't mean that you will suffer because of the pain. So there is a distinction that they make between the pain and the suffering. And one of the teachers that I was following, she was mentioning about the formula called suffering equals pain multiplied by the resistance. if the pain factor is 10, if the resistance is 2, so the suffering will be 20. If you reduce the resistance to 1, the pain and suffering become same. But suppose you reduce the resistance to 0, even though the pain is 10 out of 10, the suffering will be also 0. So this is what the yogis find. So resistance means to resist why it is happening in a self-denial mode. Right? When we start going out for an interview, we drive the car and then go on the freeway or somewhere, and suddenly you see a flat tire. Like what happens? Like you pull down on the side. First 30 minutes, we are on a self-denial. We kick the tire a couple of times, we look at the clock, and then I'm getting late for my interview. Why did it have to happen to me? Look at all the different cars that are going. Why didn't it happen to them? Why me? Why me? So we be in that self-denial mode almost like 30-40 minutes. And then later on, something dawns onto our mind, then we call the insurance or call the mechanics to fix the car. Isn't it? So we always lose that time of self-denial. Instead of that, if you practice something well in advance of deepening the consciousness, understanding how the mind works, and using the same mind to let go of that thing of self-denial in a quicker way, maybe 5 minutes, not 30 minutes, we can a little bit more efficiency. We can bring some efficiency into our life to understand how to let go so that we can move forward in a better way. So that is also a concept of understanding that I am attached to the world because of certain things, because of people around me, because of things attached to me, because of my background, because of my family, because of my education. So many things that we always try to find excuses because of which I cannot do certain things. Sometimes we feel like we are so handicapped because of certain things. Sometimes we feel like I cannot do certain things because of some background that I have. So in that case, we are also not able to let go of the past events that have happened and then attach to the present moment where we are pure, clean, sublime, a possibility of infinity, and we're not attaching to that but attaching to the past experience of limitations and lacking mind, and that is the root cause of why you not become so successful. So one of the examples that I would like to give is it's a concept of how bird hunters in India, at least I've seen, they use this technique of grabbing those parrots early in the morning. So what they do, they will find 2 trees and then they will connect the 2 trees with a silk thread, and they'll put some nice ripened guavas onto the silk thread. They will tie them out and they'll just hide somewhere. Early in the morning when the parrots are out on finding food, so they get attracted to these beautiful guavas with their fragrance and start coming in and then sit on that invisible silk thread to grab the guava. And because the thread is so thin, so it definitely cannot hold their body weight, so they will hold onto that with their paws and automatically they will become upside down. Right? So they're hanging with their paws attached to the silk thread and their body is upside down, and they don't know what to do after that. So meanwhile, the bird hunter will come and then catch one bird at a time and then put it on the bag, and he will go and then sell those in the market. Now look at what is the nature of the bird. The nature of the bird is to fly. The God has given him the wings. So if they apply that little knowledge of letting go, and then they can fly away. But all this time, the limited intelligence of the birds might be thinking that the thread is holding on to me. But the actual fact is that you are holding onto the thread. In the same example, we always think that the world is attached to me. I'm attached to my wife, I'm attached to my husband, I'm attached to my daughter, I'm attached to my son, I'm attached to my mom, I'm attached to this country, I'm attached to my concept or whatever virtues that you stand for. So if you become too much obsessed about that, and if you have a need to detach yourself, you can apply this principle of that thing that I'm thinking about is not holding me. I'm always unattached. in a deep meditation Vedantic way, we always teach about the practice. Asongoham. I'm never attached to anything. I never attached to my mother's womb. I came out. I never attached to the small school that I went to. I went to a bigger school. I never attached to the small village that I was brought up. I came to a bigger town. I never attached to a particular place for a long time. I grabbed different opportunities and moved in life. I never attached to my bachelorhood. I got married. I never attached to my young married life. We become a parent. Right? So you have always practicing this attachment and detachment unknowingly. So now with this knowledge, if you find that it's the game that you're playing of detaching something and attaching something else, so whenever there is an opportunity that comes, you apply the same technique and learning how to outgrow, outlive, and to enrich, because the mind has the power. So friends, if we use this power, the power of the mind, we definitely can have a control on any situation. Coming back to the story of the monkey who was not able to let go of the banana in the lead, so that's why it got thrashed by the farmer. So the learning from this story is, when the monkey learns how to let go, the monkey becomes the monk. When the monkey learns to let go, the monkey becomes the monk. So I guess there is a story there, there is a learning there, so how we can overcome the monkeyhood in our mind and become a monk with the right practice of attachment and detachment, with the right knowledge of how to let go. So friends, with that, lessons in life, let's bring back both the palms together and take this moment to meditate on the Prana Shakti energy, which is the pure wisdom, the infinite intelligence that is always there with us. Every time our mind gets corrupted, every time mind gets dirty by different transactions in this life with different people or different places, there is always this technique of meditation to take a holy dip onto that river of Ganges, which is flowing perennially in our mind, in our life, in the form of the divine intelligence. So let's take a holy dip by practicing Prana Shakti mantra. As you inhale, 5 times Prana Shakti in your mind. As you exhale, 5 times Prana Shakti in your mind, and try to visualize a Om symbol in your heart. That's all. So try to think about the Om symbol in your heart and think of Prana Shakti as the source of infinite intelligence, the purity that always helpful to clean our mind. Slowly, gently bring back again your awareness to your heart center. Feel like this practice of meditation has enabled your whole body to get enlightened or illumined with this power of Prana Shakti, which has been transmitted to every cell, every tissue, every organ in your body. And let your body be surrounded by this beautiful light, a healing shield, always protective. And with the power of imagination, try to expand this shield to your house, engulfing all your loved ones. purifying them, protecting them. Every object in your house, let it get sanctified, sanitized, divinized with this light. And then, being a little bit more generous, let's expand this whole light from our own house to our community, to our neighborhood, to the state we are in, to the country we are in, and to the world and to the universe. All connected in that simple consciousness that we all are. That one consciousness, that Prana Shakti is everywhere. Starts from our heart and goes all around and comes back. Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityor ma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Lead us from untruth to truth. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death and disease to immortality. Oh, peace, peace, peace.